All right, guys, welcome to another episode of the Acquisition Podcast. It is an awesome day today because we actually have our very first guest ever, and I wrote this super cool intro, so let me know how it goes. This individual, our first guest, is a serial entrepreneur, real estate investor, owns a big local media company, has worked with the likes of Bretman Rock, Hawaiian Airlines, Lexus. I've also hired him. He is an incredible husband. I attended his wedding in Italy. It was freaking amazing. He's a new father, and he also runs a podcast. He's my past client and one of my best friends. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Andrew the Man Tran. What's up?
What an intro. What an intro.
What an intro. Was it just me, or did we just hear Jeremy put himself up there with Hawaiian Airlines when he's like, I also hired him? I was like, what the hell?
No, I kind of thought that. I was like, okay.
I was like, I've also hired him. Okay, Jeremy. Good to go.
I ain't shit, guys.
I think we finally lured our first guest on.
Yes,
Uh-oh.
yes. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you for making this happen. I'm
Hell yeah,
stoked to be your
brother.
first guest, and let's see where this goes.
Dude,
Absolutely.
hell yeah. Okay, so this is going to be an interesting one because Anthony has actually never met Andrew.
Well, we met like real quick.
Yeah,
What was
real
it?
quick
yeah,
at an
yeah,
event,
yeah.
Emerging Leaders event.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. Okay.
Yeah,
But,
it was
we never really got
briefly.
to talk and sit down and talk
Not
stuff.
intimately.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
So yeah, I barely like right before I was like, okay, so tell me a little bit about Andrew. I need to know. I guys, again, Jeremy hit me again. Oh, by the way, tomorrow we have a podcast. I'm like, wait, what?
Dude, I planned this a week before.
Yeah, he always plans.
He doesn't
and
check his text messages.
He plans and he has all these notes and knows exactly what we're talking about. I'm flying off the cuff just like always. But pleasure to meet you, Andrew, like officially.
Let's
Hell
go.
yeah. So this is actually my most prepared podcast. Like, I got a bunch of notes. And I told,
Wow,
I told
wow,
Anthony, I was
wow,
like,
bro.
hey, dude.
Trust me, I
I
deal
got
with
the
this
notes.
all the time.
I'm going to ask Andrew. And then, Anthony, you just be Anthony, bro. You just do you, you know?
All right.
So, anyway, Andrew, you are a great entrepreneur, a good friend. Let's take it back. Let's take it back to back in the days. Tell us about, your childhood, your upbringing, where and like how you grew up. Like, tell us like what it was like growing up as Andrew Tran.
Back to the beginning. So my parents are immigrants, and typical immigrant story. They came over in '89, and I was born in '93, born and raised here, and that's kind of all I knew, right? Like immigrants coming over, the typical immigrant story. They work hard.
Yep.
Come over, you can't really like follow your dreams. It's like you're coming over to America. You take everything from Vietnam, the villages that they're from, come over, and they just gotta work hard, hustle, and make money.
Just work.
So
Yeah.
grew up, I was surrounded by that, right? My dad was passionate in photo, video. We come from a family of like artists and musicians. And so I was also surrounded by that. But then for the most part of my life, it was just like the hustle, the grind, the hard work, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so that's what I surrounded myself with. And so growing up, just trying to figure out ways to make it. And I think at one point, I grew up with my grandparents too, and my grandma was getting sick. So, I started to get passionate about medicine and trying to figure out how to like help her, help other people. And
That's
so
right.
I developed that passion. And I don't know, I think just like growing up, I always had that like, I want to
Drive.
be the best,
Yeah,
like I
love
wanted
that.
to get good grades, not just for my parents, but for myself and like do something good and like be a doctor and like, that dream,
Yeah, yeah.
So it wasn't really my parents' dream.
That's one thing that I admire, by the way, about immigrants that come over here, and they freaking outwork like
Yeah.
the American population that were born here and outwork them. They outperform. They really work harder because they understand what those feelings are like, not to have and all that. And I really
Exactly.
respect that. That's awesome,
It's
brother.
the
Yeah, it's-
immigrant mindset.
Yeah.
It's
you're-
crazy because
yeah.
it's like, just being surrounded by that kind of like shaped who I am today.
That's
Yep.
good.
It's just like they have that dream for you, right? Like, as a parent, as a dad now, it's just like you want the best for your child.
Yeah.
And like obviously you don't want your child to struggle, to work hard for money.
Yeah, yeah.
And so like growing up, they just like, do good in school, like have a career, do these things. So like growing up, I was like, okay, I want to be a doctor, all these things. And so like I never really paid attention to my parents' like entrepreneur mindset or like the hustle, right?
Yeah.
Until finally I realized like, dang, like that's kind of like what I was surrounded by, and I want to be the best at it. And
okay.
how do I do more of that?
Okay. Because I know so me and Andrew went to University of Hawaii.
Yep.
We didn't know each other. We knew of each other
Yeah.
through certain funny
Do a
things.
mutual friend.
Yeah. She's watching this. Say what's
We don't
but
talk about that.
I knew of you, and I knew you were like pursuing medicine.
Yep.
And then like I think we met later in like the club scene, the nightlife scene.
Dirty
and
Jams.
you're an entrepreneur, and I was like, so tell us about like the switch from medicine, because what you just explained about your childhood, it sounded like you were super passionate about medicine. It didn't sound like your parents were like forcing you. Like Filipino parents, they'll force us like be a nurse, you know. So it sounded like you wanted to pursue medicine on your own, but then you switched to entrepreneurship. So tell me about like that switch. Like what made you like, okay, I don't want to do medicine anymore, and like, you know, like I want to be a business person. Like,
I'm glad you brought that up, because it's usually the other way around, right? Like everybody expects, like, you know, my parents are immigrants, Vietnamese parents, like they're super strict. Grew up like, you think like they would be like, oh, be a doctor, be a lawyer, all that kind of stuff. They were never like that for me.
Oh, okay.
And I think that's why like I'm so grateful for their support in everything that I do. And so I fell in love with like photo video work when I was like 12, 13ish. Picked up my first camera. My uncle actually gifted me a camera.
Oh, wow.
Started shooting photos like random. No one had iPhones back then, you know. So I had like this DSLR. I think it was like a 40D, and I was like shooting around. Fell in love with it. My dad would like take me around on his weddings, his side projects, because he had a hobby too, right? Everyone has hobbies. You work hard, but you have that hobby. So I had that hobby. Kept doing it. Kept like going to these weddings with my dad, these commercial shoots with my dad, and kind of just grew on me. Still continue to study medicine though. So through college, again, just on the top of your head, right? Like, or like just that mindset, that American mindset of like, hey, you have to go to school, do good in school, have a good career.
Yeah.
And so like that's what kind of like I grew up around. And so pushed my passion aside. Then finally, like I kept doing it. In 2013, I met a group of college friends, and we were doing some work, and like, let's just start a company. Like, we don't know what we're doing. Let's just start Redefined Media.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so like
Okay.
that work started. It was 4 college friends doing music
for fun.
videos, like event coverage,
wow.
like different like promotions and stuff. That's when Instagram and Vine started, like 6-second videos.
Yeah.
And we were tripping because we're like, oh, 6 seconds? Like, let's do it, you know?
Let's see how
Before,
much we
like,
can
photos.
pack in these 6 seconds.
Yeah. And then it was like 15 seconds. Okay, and then we started to realize, okay, I think this is the future. How do we capitalize on this digital market that a lot of people aren't aware of yet? So these companies were so used to like doing traditional marketing and everything. So we were trying to tap into like that digital marketing, like, hey, this is the future, invest in us. We're going to make you good shit, you know, and like, and really like blow up. And so that happened. I was still studying, like taking the MCAT, all that stuff, like trying to do both. And then 2017 for me was when I think I made the commitment. I won an Emmy for one of the shows that I produced.
Oh, that's right.
And
an Emmy.
yeah.
So like
a regional Emmy, but still, you know.
So I
It was
remember
cool.
like when you first got that, I like congratulated. I was like, oh, congrats on like a Grammy or something. So how important was this Emmy to you? Like okay, you got the award. Like how were you feeling? Like were you like tripping out?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like you're sitting there. I was there with Megan, and I was just like, I don't know what's gonna happen, but this is crazy just to be here. And then they called our names, and I was like, oh shit.
Wow.
Got up there. I had like this whole thank you speech in my head, and then got up there and I was like, oh, thank you to my friends and family, and thank you God. That's all. I was like, oh shit. I was so nervous.
Froze up.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So like when you won the Emmy, you were still pursuing medicine?
Yep.
Wow.
So I was still in the process of applying to med schools and all that.
Okay.
I did take an MCAT already. I had a good enough score to get into schools.
Oh wow.
But then I was like, this is a sign. You know, I'm gonna take this as a sign. School will always be there.
Yeah.
But this passion project, this momentum right now, like like, you know, I gotta seize the moment right now.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's actually good that you did that, because, and no offense against people that go to school again, I love that people, you know, there are
It's not for everyone.
professionals. It's not for everyone.
Yeah.
And in order to get return on investment on that time for going to school, you got to put in a lot of time in going to school, and you got to put a lot of time in work.
A lot of
Or else
sacrifice too.
It's a lot. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, you know, that was smart to just pause that and move into, you know, your venture.
Yeah, 100%. I think the biggest thing for me was I kind of sat down with my girlfriend at the time, my partner, and I was like, okay, what do I value in life, right? I really wanted a family. That was a top part of my list. I wanted to travel, and I wanted time. And like you said, like, you know, going to school, trying to be a doctor, like that's a lot of time. Like all of my friends, like they're doctors now, but they're still in school. Or like, you know, you graduate school with debt. And like I didn't want that. I think time was the biggest thing for me, and like I wanted to have a family and that time. So
Yeah, I think you answered my next question. My next question literally was like, okay, you're scaling your business, this media company. At what moment, what was your like aha moment that made you think like, okay, this isn't just some side thing. Like this could be actually like my job.
When
like,
he won the Emmy.
Yeah.
There it is.
So I guess that was your
Yeah.
aha
Yeah.
I was like, oh
right?
shit.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I think it was just like I came home, I was holding that physical thing in my hand, and we were at the hotel room, and I was like, holy shit, this is it.
This is it.
This is it. Like, this is my sign. I called my parents, and I was like, I'm going to go full time in this. And they're like, finally. They were like,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because then they're, again, they support me in everything I did.
That's really rare for Asian parents.
Exactly.
You know?
It was the opposite, right? I was like, Mom
Yeah.
and Dad, I don't want to be a doctor.
How old are you?
I just turned 30.
Oh, you just turned 30. Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah,
Good
yeah.
to go.
So,
Yeah.
Not bad.
See, that switch kind of reminds me of you, Anthony, when you're like, so you were flipping cars, remember? Like, for those watching,
yeah.
Anthony started flipping cars, and then he started his own auto body shop, and he was still flipping cars for the purpose of, to fix your own cars. But then you're like, nah, I'm going to switch to the insurance jobs, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm going to ask both you guys these questions. That decision, was that a hard decision? And how long did it take? Or was it like, nah, this just makes sense. I'm going to go this way.
It was more natural. For me, it
Natural?
was more natural, a natural progression. I've I didn't really, I've just been hooking and jabbing, the way I seen it, and just a natural progression. And that's how business it should be, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I don't know, so it sounded like you had going back to school is in your back pocket in case, right?
Yep.
So, which is great. I mean, for me, I knew early in life that I did not want to be in school. I was a college dropout. I will have that one day on my Rari, college dropout, seriously, I knew really early on that was not for me, and I was going to figure something else out. Not only that, but when you look around the world, you look and see who owns what, who's running the world.
Exactly.
It's the crazy entrepreneurs, the serial entrepreneurs, not just any entrepreneur. I mean, there's, we got guy owns the corner market over here, and that guy's doing okay, which is great, and there's nothing against them.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about serial entrepreneurs, which is going to lead to what I was going to talk to you about is and if I don't know if it's okay because to talk about, but like we got a little something,
In the works.
potentially in the works, right? Which also tells me you are of the same cloth, serial entrepreneur, and you want to diversify and get into different types of businesses, which I'll let you talk a little more. We got a little business thing going on potentially.
Was it naturally for you, like that choice, that decision, like saying, okay, forget school, or was it like a hard decision?
I think it was hard because okay, this is gonna sound dumb, but on my Instagram, right, I had pre-med on it, and for the longest time, I just took that thing as like okay, this is my identity, right? So I told Megan one day, I was just like, you know what? After that Emmy, I deleted that pre-med off my thing.
Oh man!
And I was like, it sounds so dumb.
No, yeah.
Now that I say it, but it's like
Instagram
the
real,
moment
dude.
I took that off, I changed my identity, right? I went from like, I'm gonna go to school to, you know what? I'm gonna do my thing. I'm gonna follow my passion. I'm gonna like start my business, and that has been a journey.
Nice.
So
It's
was
only
hard.
real when you make it Instagram real.
Yeah, when you take it off Instagram.
Damn. It used to be Facebook for back in my day.
Yeah,
I'm a little older than you guys.
Back in my day.
It was real when it was on
at least
Facebook.
is still around.
Shit, yeah.
Well, this next question, which is going to lead up to like this potential project that we're working on together. How did you learn doing business? Like, was it just learning?
Just doing it.
Just doing it? Or like, do you read books? Because I remember when we started getting close, I literally didn't start reading books or like self-help stuff or business stuff till like 2019. And then you recommended a good book, which helped me like think in the process of like a business owner, which was like the E-Myth, right?
Yep. Honestly,
So what did it come naturally at first, or did you have to like learn the hard way? Was there a couple things that you're like, oh shoot,
Yeah,
I
for
screwed
sure.
that up?
Because when we started in 2014, we didn't know anything, right? It's just like, I thought it was fun to start a business.
Yeah.
Let's just start a business, think of a cool name, do some cool work. And then like, after the years came through, like, oh, okay, taxes, we got to figure that shit out. And then like figuring out the partnerships, like all that stuff. It was crazy, but you learn as you go. I think the big thing for me was I had a good mentor. So just finding good mentors is a big one.
Man, all right. I love you, Andrew. So far, I do.
Yes.
But holy shit, man.
There's some Anthony
Everybody,
spice.
and this is going to, everybody has a mentor. And for me, I'm going to tell you right now, I've just been
You did
gangster
it.
as shit,
Yeah.
just going at it, going hard. I'm probably a little bit different where I didn't have any mentors. I really didn't watch
That.
anyone on, no mentors, no nothing.
Did you seek mentors?
No,
Okay.
I didn't seek them. I just knew that the best way to learn is to fucking just like throwing your
Do it.
kid in the water.
Yeah.
Fucking sink or swim, motherfucker. Sorry, excuse my language, but seriously,
Get it
that's
done,
kind of
yeah,
how I've
learn,
always been. But I hear this more and more from the younger cats, and I feel like you guys are like the beginning of that generation of the younger people. Which
Uncle Anthony.
I'm starting to get up there in age. I am, but I respect it. I really do.
Yeah.
And I think it is a fast forward way, and I think it's enlightening, and but again, I think it's great. I think it's great.
I think it's a balance of
The
both,
mentor
right?
thing.
Like getting in there, doing it, and figuring it out for yourself. And then also, like, I think for me, like, I like that someone was there to recommend something. It was more so like, hey, so Colby, she was the one that recommended that book to me, the E-Myth. Basically, that book kind of just like changed my perspective on like owning a business, because people think like you start a business with your passion, it's easy, right? Like, oh, you do something you love, you can start a business easy. But no, there's like you're either the manager, you're the technical person, or you're the entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And people don't understand what the word entrepreneur means.
Yeah.
Like, you're the problem solver. You do everything on the business, not
figure
in
it
the
the fuck
business.
out.
Exactly.
As long as your mentor,
Yeah.
they don't start selling you shit, and you don't put on a little robe with like
Of course.
Hey,
yeah.
hey
Well, let me
guys,
ask you this: if you could go back when you're like 18 or whatever, you're starting autocraft, whatever, would you tell your younger self to get a mentor or just keep doing it
You
to
know
like
what?
speed up the process?
I
and
don't
learning?
know, because sometimes, and this is where you're not sure, right? If you think back, sometimes you have to go through these crazy ass experiences yourself, and it hardens you.
Yeah.
And now whenever as my growth, I'm like doubling like every fucking year, dude. It's getting insane.
Yeah.
And it's because of the experiences that I went through, and I had to learn the hard way on some things. And maybe a mentor can help, but I still think that there's no better way to learn than
Experience.
fucking getting kicked in the nuts.
Yeah.
100%,
and
yeah.
like over and over, and like
Until
left,
figure it
right.
out,
You
yeah.
know what I'm
And
saying?
then you
And
think you
figuring
got
out.
it, and then you're like, yeah, and then boom.
Yeah, exactly. And then taxes hit. It's like boom. And by the way, you mentioned taxes.
It's coming
It's
up.
like figure out your taxes, or else we're gonna come get you. Like, you know what I'm saying?
We're gonna
So-
make it really hard to do.
Yep.
But figure it out, and
Yep.
if you don't, we're gonna get you.
Exactly. No,
yeah.
no,
No,
for
I mean, I've been like, I think the whole mindset for me too is like, it's either winning or learning.
I love
Right.
that. I love that.
So
You
it's-
stole that from Hermosi. I'm gonna
Yeah,
call you out on that.
yeah.
Oh,
But I mean,
shit.
a lot of people say it, right?
No, yeah,
and like,
yeah.
and
It's
it's
true,
like,
it's
and
true.
it's like, you either do something and you win, or
Yeah.
you learn from it. We always talk about this, right?
Yeah.
Like, we always like text each other like, shit, this just happened, but it's like, oh, it's a life lesson. Oh, I
Yeah.
lost this much money. Oh, it's like tuition to like
The school of
what
hard
the
knocks,
school of hard
you
knocks.
know?
You're learning your shit
Because you only
Get there.
lose if you freaking quit. Like first time you got kicked in the nuts, I'm like, if you quit,
Yeah, you wouldn't be here.
yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Hell, you're right.
Yeah.
No, I
But
just
shit, you
kept,
got
I just
back
kept
up.
on. Yep, got back up, kept going, moved left instead of right.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how you do it. You have to. Yes.
So for you, like when you were building your business, either before or after the Emmy, was there ever a time where you're like, dude, this sucks. I don't want to do this anymore. Like pack it
Yeah.
up. Like Redefined Media gone. I'm done. Like,
Yeah,
Have you ever
yeah.
had those moments? Like,
Oh, always.
what happened? Like, if you remember any specific experiences that happened.
I'm trying to think. I mean, so when we were first starting, right, it was just like we were so busy, and then two of the partners, they moved away. One went to the military. One went to LA to pursue his directing dreams, which is awesome. And then it was just me and my other partner Evan, and we were just like at that point we were like, okay, what do we do from here? Like, do we continue it? Do I go our own ways? Do we just like dissolve this? For me, I was like kind of in that high of like, you know what? Let's just fucking do this. Like,
Yep.
let's just figure it out. The same year, my cousin, family friend from church, was like, hey, we have this like warehouse space. Like, you might be interested. I was like, we're not even looking for a space. Like, I edit at home, like, why do we need a space? Like,
All
just
that
come check out this space.
overhead.
Just come check out this space,
Yeah.
see what you think. I walked in and I immediately got super inspired, right? I was like, holy shit, this could be like, our editing rooms. Like, I could build a studio up here. And so that was our first big leap. Like, I think our first big commitment to, hey, we're going to do this.
Because you have rent, right?
Exactly. Now it's like, okay, now we have overhead.
Yeah.
How do we make enough
We
money
have
to
to move,
figure that?
yeah.
Yeah. And so that helped a lot. And then just like learning the build out, like the legalities of that. and then eventually getting our first employee. Like, I don't know, all those little things, and it's crazy. Just like learning as you go, trying to do it right.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
And it's fun. It's like a game.
It is.
It is a game. You know,
you're like figuring out the parts, right?
Yeah, exactly. And like my favorite part is like where I'm at in my stage, you know, and I believe we all go through stages as our growth, you know, as we
100%.
continue to grow, right? So at the stage I'm at right now, like with one of my largest company is just going through the P&Ls, just going through and seeing where we're wasting. Now it's like, all right, well, we buy items per location. Now let's just buy it by pallets instead.
Yeah.
Let's get each individual item as low as we can. Let's wow, you know, now I'm putting workers in the Philippines. You know, I'm you know, unfortunately, sorry, and this is how I feel. Like the government wants to make it expensive to hire employees here. Us entrepreneurs have to figure shit out. Unfortunately, it's problem solving. So guess what? There's workers in the Philippines that could do this work for way cheaper. I'm going to hire them, unfortunately, you know. And I think it's an unfortunate thing. I don't want to get too political here, but I'm going to tell you right now, you know, as it gets more expensive here and they think they're helping the populace, well, guess what? I turn on the TV and I look in Cali and there's a first automated food place. Guess what? All those workers are losing their jobs now. And it's because, you know, there's two sides to the coin. You can't always have it one way. And so anyway, going back to where I'm at, bringing down everything. I'm just getting my costs down, seeing where I can make more money, and it's really just redefining your company.
Redefining.
It's fun. It really is. You make a game out of it. I hired a CFO. She's helping me. Gemma. She's a badass, and she's helping me get everything nice and dialed in. And that's what you need. You need good people to go through. And it's like, damn, I got a $2.5 million payroll. Do I really need a 2 point on this company? Let's start looking at everybody again. Let's really look at the numbers. And that shit starts to force you to look at it's fun. It's great. We're all in different periods of our growth. And one thing I always want to stress is that we all can help each other. You know, and I'm not necessarily like looking like mentor style, but like, hey, you know, we can help. You can look at mine. I can look at yours. I don't. What
are we talking about here? Someone's gonna cut that up as an Instagram reel. It's gonna be like,
no, I'm just
gonna be a reel.
That's funny.
What are we looking at?
I'll show you mine.
I'll show you mine. Show me yours.
I'll help you out.
Damn, Andrew.
I'm a child.
I like that you brought up the stages because, you know, like kind of like what I was saying. Like I went from pre-med to like full-time filmmaker.
Yeah.
And, you know, entrepreneur at the time. I was like trying to figure shit out. I was still working so much in the business. I was still doing all the work. And then I was like, again, back to time where I was like, wait, I can't be doing this forever.
Right.
How do I take it to the next level? Then I think 2019 was when I started to think of like, okay, you know, I'm going to shift my mindset from filmmaker to entrepreneur.
Yep.
And I think that really helped me a lot because I started reading different books and like just looking at problems and the company differently, spending my time or less time in the company, more on the company so I could solve problems like that, right?
Exactly.
And like that's been so much fun. I think so. Like I tell people now, like my passion is this problem solving. Like I don't even like consider myself a filmmaker anymore, which is crazy. I have like the team to do it, and they're fucking talented. You know, it's the next generation. Like they're so much better than me. Like all these guys, they have all the technology, they have all these like resources online. Like they're learning crazy shit, and I'm like
AI.
Yeah, I mean, I respect it, and it's so cool to see that. And so my biggest passion, problem solving. Putting the pieces together for other creators to create things that they're proud of.
That's amazing because you've evolved, and now you're creating other opportunities for other people to move up and to take those leadership positions, which I love seeing, and I love harnessing that because those people, I mean, they have families, and you know, you want them to grow and do really well, dude. That is my passion as well, is just paving the way forward. That's really it. I can take the hits, and you know. Again, I've learned to move left when I should have went right, and whatever,
that.
right?
I love that, yeah.
So it's just an evolution.
It's that moment when you realize, like, yo, you're responsible for
Other
this
people.
other person
Yep.
and their family.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, yo, if you don't pay that $2.5 million payroll, this guy's not gonna live. You know,
Yeah.
all these people are not gonna be able to live.
Oh,
so
my
it's crazy.
gosh.
I think that adds like a layer of pressure.
Yeah.
You know? But I think what's cool, the people who are real entrepreneurs, that pressure makes you like work harder.
Yeah.
you
Oh,
know?
yeah.
Like if you suck, then like you'll just fold. You know?
You just quit.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like the other day, we went to what was that thing called, Josh? That show you took us to, or the speaker?
Oh
the
yeah, Inspire.
Inspire
Nice
Collective.
Inspire, yeah.
That speaker.
fun.
What was his name?
Colin something.
Yeah, that guy. He said a lot of great things, and one of the things that I really respected is that during these periods of growing pains,
Yep.
you're gonna feel like you want to die
Oh, yeah.
sometimes. Like it hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts. There's a lot of pain involved with growing, and that really stuck with me because Jeremy's seen me, walking in circles. I've been literally walking in circles.
Dude, like
and I'm
Anthony
like,
does this thing where like we're talking, right? And then we're like trying to think, and then we're pacing, and then at one point he's like, dude, like
bro,
like breathing exercises, like you got to do deep breath, like
man, guys, oh my gosh, it's starting to be like $1 million swings now. It's like, oh
Scary.
shit,
Scary.
But we just extended a new operation, new location. It's like, oh, okay, all right, and I'm doing the numbers. And I think we're good, and I'm like, holy shit. I have I got to make sure everything is right. And it's just different when, you're at the helm and everybody's looking at you.
Yeah.
So yeah, those
moments are real.
Those
It
moments
happens.
are real.
Yeah.
It's stressful as shit.
And I think a lot of people don't see that, like everybody's always posting their wins on social media and all that.
Like entrepreneurship is so glamorous,
Yeah.
know, like, oh yeah,
We have
look
all
at
this time,
Look at us on
yeah.
our yacht.
Yeah,
you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yacht party. Yeah.
You
Good times.
But they don't see the freaking like,
The breathing.
the breathing, Anthony circling and having a panic attack,
Oh
and
my
like,
gosh.
like those times when you like wake up in the middle of the night or like you just cry and you're just like, what the fuck did I get myself into?
Yeah, you're
you know?
working. I mean, you're working all the time.
Yeah.
Yo, all the
24/7,
time.
Start a business, they
24/7.
said.
All the time.
Yeah, like
It's
I think we
fun.
talked about this in a different podcast, but it's like, not to knock employees, but like they can just clock in, do their work, clock out, boom,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
All their
Yep.
care, all that is like it stops. But for us, it's like 24/7.
Yeah.
Non-stop.
Non-stop.
Like you could be going to bed and then you're like, did I lock the door? Like
Yeah,
something
yeah.
like
Or
that.
like, did I
Something as
submit
simple as
this?
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Did I
yeah,
freaking
yeah.
put
That's
that?
why I think a lot of entrepreneurs party hard, man. They got to forget their fucking problems
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Work hard, play
Jeez,
hard.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
Yeah, work hard. Everything's going good. No matter how much you're working, there's always a problem to fix.
Yeah,
it seems
always,
like.
yeah.
Always. Just like a hammer always sees nails or whatever the hell that saying is. I don't know.
I start that quote from Anthony.
There we go. Holy shit, man! It's a lot of work, it's a lot of stress. But yes, I do. Yes, we do party here a little hard on the yacht. And
Oh,
Andrew,
yeah.
I hope
I
you
know
come
Andrew.
Yeah, I'll be there
Andrew
one day.
hella used to party back in his day. I mean, now he's a father. He's married, but we'll talk about that later.
I just had a weekend bender in LA though.
Oh
It was fun.
shoot!
Oh, yeah, tell us about that. Tell us about
Oh,
that.
nah, it was great. I mean, like, so.
Saw Millennium, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, so
okay.
before that, though, I mean, like, still as a dad, right? Like, I want Emery to experience the same things that we are experiencing. And, like, there's always those parents who are like, oh, why are you traveling at such a young age? You're not going to remember anything. But it's like, nah, it's like we're building memories together, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, we want to get her used to the traveling. So we actually went to San Diego before that with her family. That was nice. Flew back home to Hawaii, dropped her off with the in-laws, and then flew back up to LA for the Millennium show.
And
So that
just
was
went
fun.
crazy.
And yeah, I freaking died.
That's good.
But it was good, But then we realized we missed Emery, so we flew home early on Sunday. So it was like that balance, finding that balance.
I also remember you texting me, like saying, "Hey, dude,
Bro.
I'm sorry, I missed your call. I just got super hammered because I did bottomless mimosas with margarita."
Yeah, that
I was like, "Dang,
yeah.
Andrew, you haven't partied like this in a while."
Yeah, it's been a minute. But yeah, like you said, I think it's good to find that balance because it's like if you're constantly working, we talked about this in one of our podcasts too, but it's like to be a good leader and be a good like business owner, you need to take care of yourself, right? And like
Yes.
sometimes it's like you need to release that
Yes,
mental
dude.
shit. Go to Thailand for a month.
Well, I wasn't thinking that. The reason why I was looking
Take
at
care of
Anthony,
yourself, guys. Come on.
the reason why I was looking at Anthony is because like I've been trying to drill into him, like, dude, this health is wealth. Me and
Health,
Andrew
yeah.
are all about it. So like back when we started, like last year, I was like, Anthony, let's go to the gym. We started
remember
our
that, yeah. Every
gym.
morning.
sauna, pool, and then work.
Guy.
And we were on it.
Oh my god.
And then Anthony fell off. You know, when's the last time you worked out? Like
this morning.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We
that's
worked
right.
out this
So
morning.
it's been 2 weeks. But I told Anthony, like, no, bro, we're getting back. We're doing this. And then yesterday, I was like, Anthony, we're gonna be in your living room at 5:45.
And sure enough, he was there.
I was there.
Nice.
And you want to know what this freaking guy does? You know how he gets me to like do it? Like out of nowhere, like I'm putting on a shirt, and he's like, yeah, he laughs because he knows, he's like, bro, that shirt don't fit you, dog. And I'm like, hey, and then that shit sticks in your head.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
shit
it
really
gets to
sticks
you,
in your head. I'm
yeah,
like, fuck, am I
I'm
getting that fat?
joking, dude.
No, you're not.
I'm not.
I'm like, damn it. All right.
That's good motivation.
Cool. I guess I
Good.
got to hit the gym,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So anyway, we hit the gym. We're getting back. Health is wealth.
Yeah.
All this bullshit. We're gonna be just fine.
But tell me now, when we were on that every freaking day, you felt good, right?
I feel amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah, no, it feels amazing.
Yeah.
And that's why I when we open up the Gatsby, guys, listen, hear this real quick. There's times that I want to go party and go hard like a rock star.
Yeah.
But I don't want to drink, I really don't. And Jeremy, I know, is the same way.
Yep.
We talked about this. But who doesn't like all the bottle service, hot girls coming out with little, all the.
flashlights.
Yeah.
So we're gonna put out there, a non-alcoholic, some sort of, some sort of bottle service of some sort, and an add-on maybe for like 10 shots for your friends that wanna drink and you don't,
Yeah.
but you're the one paying for the bottle service. So,
Yeah.
so it's like, I want to drink my bottle, but maybe a bunch of healthy shit in it. And it's just
Nice.
badass, right? It makes you feel good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a green smoothie.
Yeah, there we go. Yep, and
That's
they all
crazy.
come
That's
out
good,
with
yeah.
all the
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
and then we get to go hard that night.
Yeah.
So and I still come out. So that's that'll be coming.
Nice.
But anyway,
Stay tuned for that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Stay tuned
that's a
for
good
that.
idea, actually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, let's shift back on this.
Shifting
Shift
gears.
back.
So again, like we said, we have like a potential like business that we're working on. Me and Anthony of Aloha Acquisitions. Andrew is part of it too with our buddy. Should we say his name?
We can keep it all secret for now.
Okay.
We keep it on the DL.
Yeah.
But
I think
he's our mutual friend.
Yeah, I think what excites me about that is, like I said, in 2019 was when I kind of shifted my mindset to entrepreneur, right? That's when I started like looking into other avenues and like investments and all that stuff. I was pretty reckless with my money up until I was 25. And I was just like, okay, now I got to like get my shit together.
Mm-hmm.
Megan was like, hey, you got to save money,
Yeah.
and like, you got to like actually like do investments and do these things. I was like, okay, fine. Can't just like party like a rock star all the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then so I started looking into other investments. That's when I started hanging out with Jeremy more, looking into real estate stuff. And so that's been good, doing a lot of like long-term rentals on the mainland. And then now it's like, I'm very passionate about business, right? Problem solving. And so it's like, I have Redefined Media kind of like running itself, Redefined Weddings running itself. What else can I involve myself in now? And it's like, I don't ever want to start a business from scratch again, I don't think.
Oh, yeah.
We already did that.
That's
Yeah.
the biggest
We
thing I
did
learned
that.
from
Yeah,
Anthony.
Yes.
yeah.
And
I
it's
don't like doing that anymore.
Yeah, we did that already.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, now the next steps, how do you go into either buy into a business or start something with other people and, collectively solve problems and just fucking like make a dope ass company,
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
So it's like, I think that's like the most enticing thing about this new deal coming up. It's like, there's a lot of people involved,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a lot of like heavy hitters,
Yeah.
And it's like, this is us meeting for the first time and talking
Right.
in depth, but like, I've been excited to kind of like just like be a part of this space,
And not only that, but what's cool with collaborations and working with other heavy hitters is that it paves the way for other opportunities as well. There's a lot of opportunities that hit us. Like people like us are constantly very open-minded, and we're seeking these opportunities, and they just come out. The universe provides, right?
Yep.
And it's great to have a network of individuals that you can probably shoot it to or bounce off of.
Yep.
And basically just again have that other voice be like, maybe not, or
Show
something.
me yours, I'll show you mine.
Yeah, show me yours, I'll show you mine. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, no, I totally feel that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's great. I think that so what we're alluding to here is a potential deal. Again, this is kind of really I'm going to say this is really my first time really actually meeting you. We've met before. It was just a brief conversation. But yeah, I think that diversifying in other businesses that are very like if it's not really going to take a whole lot of work from you, and as a team, it you know, you can make it to the finish line, and you know, and there's
if it makes sense.
If it makes sense, we know who says that, and you know who you are.
Yeah.
Makes
Probably gonna
sense.
FaceTime after this.
Oh, you'll get a FaceTime
if it makes sense.
Yeah.
But
If it
yeah,
makes
I feel it, and I think the big thing is like, you know, this new industry or this new field, right? Like I'm not an expert in it, but you are, you know, and like that's what but everybody has like their different strengths, and
Their
like I think
superpower.
like collectively,
Yeah.
I think I texted Jeremy this one time. I was watching like the LA Lakers documentary,
Yeah.
and how
Oh,
Jerry
yeah.
Buss bought the Lakers.
Oh, wow.
It was like before that, right? He was like collectively working with all of his friends at the time to buy like real estate,
Nice.
and like he bought like the what's
The
the building?
Coliseum?
No,
Was it?
like
No,
the
no.
building in New York. But he basically sold that building to buy the Forum.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
eventually like bought the Lakers and all that stuff, right? Worked all these deals, and I was like, it's so crazy. Like, yes, you can do things alone, but I think collectively with other people, like it'll just be faster, you know? Again, with time, right? Like the variable of time. Like, how do you get there quicker?
For
Might not
sure.
be easier.
For sure.
But
And you're with other people, so it's like kind of less stress. Like you share the stress, you know, you share the burden. Like
Everybody gets kicked
yeah,
in the nuts.
Yeah, you know,
Oh, yeah,
everyone, not
yeah.
just you. Because like 2 years ago, I like went hard on flipping by myself, and it
Yeah.
was like pure, like it was an ego thing. It was
Yeah.
just like, nah, I got this. Like I don't need anyone. Like
Yeah,
this is
yep.
me. I'm the golden child. Like check it out. And then boom, I got like kicked in the nuts 5 times by myself. Like I got wrecked.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I was like, nope, I'm never doing anything alone ever again. You
Yeah.
know?
And also one of the things that, you know, one of the could you imagine? All right, Jeremy knows this, but you don't ever want to overextend yourself either. You want to also be
Yeah.
cautious of that.
Exactly.
And I think it's very smart to invest where you're at and make a stronghold where you're at before venturing out. See, I did it the opposite way. I started out in Tampa, Florida when I was in San Diego. That was my first business, an Irish pub and eatery out there.
Yeah.
And I was flying out every so often and flying back. And then also, you know, I own lots of real estate out in the mainland, apartment complex and everything. But it's just not, you know, and some Airbnbs, it's just, they don't do as well as if I bet you anything. If I had all my investments in one over here, holy cow. Now you actually make more of a lot of a bang. Now you meet more people because of that in your backyard, more connections. I mean, holy cow. So one of the things just for you guys out there, always try to invest where you're at first before just going off on the cuff somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know,
it's like a transition. Like start
yeah,
here.
yeah. Create a stronghold where you're at, and then, you know, make some noise, get things going there, and then. So now I'm selling some of my investments out there, but holy cow,
Yeah.
once that,
Yeah,
things
that's
are
really
pretty
good advice actually, because you know, like in the beginning when I was like just starting out, again, same thing. I was like, how do I do all this? I was like, maybe I should flip with Jeremy, or I should like, you know,
Yeah.
invest
Do
in these
Airbnb.
things,
Oh,
do
yeah.
all these things. Like I'll do
Yeah.
Airbnb, you know, like
Right.
it's all the shiny objects, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then it's like, you know what, Megan, like I have a good life partner, because it's like Megan kind of pulled me back. I was like, hey, you should focus on what you have here.
Yep.
Yes.
Redefine Media, Redefine Weddings.
There you go.
Build that shit up to like, you know, be the best in, you know,
Yeah.
wherever you're at,
Yep.
and then eventually expand. So, you know, I'm in that part of my life right now where like I'm trying to like expand into other deals and like work with other
Absolutely.
people and whatnot. So it's been a good transition. So
Oh yeah. Speaking of that, I know you have like a couple minutes left. I want to ask you a couple questions. You mentioned Megan. I know when you started Redefined Media, it was just like you and some friends, and now I believe Megan is working with you in your company.
yeah. So
how's that transition been, and like, what's the dynamic like working with your wife?
yeah, it's crazy. I mean, like for the longest time, it's like, yeah, you don't want to work with your partner. You don't want to keep things
Yeah.
separate, you know.
Oh,
Separate.
Business
I
and
know.
personal.
Anthony
This
knows.
one.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta start this
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
You go ahead. I want
So-
to hear yours.
So Redefined Media, I actually keep separate. That's like the commercial side. So
Got
that's
it.
just me and Evan, and then I have a really good COO on that side, and so she handles everything, all the day to day. Shout out to Abby. And then Redefined Weddings, I started in 2018 because I actually kind of like, again, like grew up in the wedding industry. I love the storytelling of that, just being a part of someone's special day, and I was doing one wedding a month, just limiting myself, and then I was like blowing, then, you know, starting to get more popular, and then Megan would check like my DMs and emails and be like, hey, like you missed all this potential work, right? But I was just so busy.
Yeah.
But she was like, how can I help? She was super passionate. She's super organized. She was like, how can I help? And like that for me was kind of like a green flag, you know, like, hey, you know, like, okay, this could work. Let's try it out. And so she took on like the studio management side, handled all the emails, all the bookings, and we like exponentially grew from 2018 to 2020. We hired like 3 employees like that first thing, added a photo department, you know, survived through COVID when no
Right.
one was getting married, and then
Yeah.
now we're like continuing to kind of like elevate the wedding industry in Hawaii.
That's
so
awesome.
super
So
stoked.
it
She's
was
been
good.
really
It was
yeah,
a value
she's good.
add.
Yeah, value add for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, because like I'm all over the place, entrepreneurs, right?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, and like you need someone that's organized and kind of like pull you in and put you into your place. Like, hey, you need to do these things.
Yeah.
You have Jeremy right now. That's your partner.
That's my girlfriend.
Nah, dude, you're the girl.
No, no. Come on. I think the viewers know who the
Whoa! Okay. Well, Anthony, I don't know if you want
Let
to
me
talk.
hear your perspective.
Yeah, your
Yeah, yeah.
perspective.
Hey,
bro.
okay. So look, no. I agree. Now having that person you can trust too,
Yes.
you trust, is second to none. And you want to know something, guys? My girlfriend of 6 years, she was working in my company. And honestly, I have nothing but great things to say about her. She was amazing. One of the smartest girls I probably ever met in my entire life.
Yeah.
Handled her job like a freaking G. Like I'm telling you, I've never had a better, better experience. So just, the only thing for me is I wasn't married. We weren't married, right? So you're married. You're married. So it sounds like you guys. I mean, it doesn't sound like you guys are in it for life, right? You guys are in it for life. For me, we were together for a long time. But man, it was very tough. We would butt heads all the time. We would go home. We would talk about like work, and to the point where it was just a little exhausting. And to my fault too. I mean, I would talk about work nonstop. And taking it home with us, and it really put a strain on the relationship, I believe. And not only that, but like finding a replacement, and we broke up, and so
and it got messy. Yeah,
it got real messy. It was super messy, like trying to replace her. Like it was super hard. No one could handle her job like she did.
Yeah.
So it was just extremely difficult. But again, I believe her and we had a mutual respect for each other. She actually helped me back out.
That's good.
With the business. She went above and beyond, and I believe we took care of each other, even after, which was very honorable. So I'm going to tell you, if you're going to do it and you're going to bring a girl into, your business, again, most of the older guys are going to caution you on this. Don't eat where you shit. Is that what they say? Or, don't shit where you eat. Sorry. Yeah, that's what they say. All that kind of stuff, right? They're going to, words of caution. However, no one knows better than you. Okay? No one knows better than you. And if you do it, just have it in your mind that like there are going to be arguments, there's going to be fights, and be just very cautious and have an exit strategy, have an exit plan. I mean, I didn't have that, and it took me a little bit to put that together, and it worked out just fine. I think it worked out great, actually.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things, holy cow! And if it was a crazy girl, holy
what's
shit,
worse?
man!
Yeah.
She had access to my bank accounts, like literally everything. She could have freaking went ham on me, guys. Like honestly, holy cow, could have been destroyed. Yeah. She didn't, which was great. Again, I trusted her.
Yep.
And no one knows better than you. I trusted, and it worked out fine. So we were okay.
I like that.
So.
See,
I
you
like
guys get to hear two different perspectives, but ultimately.
But I think the one thing we had in common was, it is hard to find that balance sometimes, because I love to work, dude. I think that's the one thing, right? You bring work home, you talk about work all the time. So I think that's something I learned myself, was like, okay, where do I find that balance? How do we shut off work for just a little bit, and then enjoy the family time, and then we'll get back to work whenever, right? But yeah, just like being present, I think is a big one. I wasn't present with her, like in the beginning of our relationship, because I was just so busy with work, and I love to work. I honestly could say I love to work more than I loved her at the time, right? It's crazy.
Oh,
like,
shit.
at the time.
Damn, Megan's
But now,
watching
but now it's like you find that balance. You find that balance.
Clip that.
Send that to her. But you find that balance. And it's like,
yeah.
okay, I'm gonna be present at my work, but then I'm gonna be present with you.
Yeah.
And then we're just gonna grow together, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
So I know you're running out of time. I got 3 last questions for you. The first one would be, what would you tell your 18-year-old self if you go back in time?
To save money. Nah, not save money. I would just say like be smarter with it. But I'm trying to think. I think business wise, I think the big one is just to kind of like trust your gut, and like do what you feel is right. Because you have one life, and it's like if you spend all this time in something you're not passionate about, you're gonna realize later in life that shit, I shouldn't have done that, and you're gonna regret it. So trust your gut, make a informative decision, and just go with it.
Love that. Love that. Okay. And now the last two questions. I always like to ask these from like entrepreneurs or people like doing really epic stuff is, what is the best advice you ever got? And what is the worst advice you ever got? And by that, just think like, okay, someone gave me this advice and it was awesome. And it just exponentially grew myself, my life, my business. And then someone gave you some advice and you like kind of listened to it and like, it was just stupid. And you're like, why the hell did I freaking do that? You know?
Yeah. No, it's crazy because like, I mean, I would say you're like a year younger than me.
Yeah.
So I think we still grew up in that generation where like Instagram and like those mentors online and everything weren't like a big thing yet. I see so much advice, like they're flooding the feed and like everybody's going to see so many different things. I think the big one when I was kind of like coming up, a lot of people are saying you got to hustle. You got to like say yes to everything, do all the work, you know, film all these projects and just like put yourself out there. That was the worst advice because burnout is a real thing. And like, you know, not being able to find that balance, like the hustle mentality actually hurts and like it sucks. You definitely need it, but I think like finding that balance, once I learned the power of saying no and like being very intentional with like what I do and the projects that I take on, that's where like you saw the growth, right? You think you do all these projects, you make more money, whatever. It's not that. It's like,
for sure.
You be intentional with your projects and you do the things that you love and the universe will return that favor, right? So that's like the worst advice, to hustle and take on everything. Best advice, I would say never stop learning. You know,
That's awesome.
I think kind of instilled in me at a young age, or my dad was always like into reading books and like, hey, you need to like read books, and like I hated it at the time, right? But now it's like, okay, I see where it's at, and it's like constantly learning, because he always said the one thing people can't take away from you is like your knowledge. And you know, they can take away your businesses, all your assets, whatever it is, but at the end of the day, like everything in your mind and everything that you know, they can't take that away from you.
Like I think the saying is like a true hustler is someone that can make it all, lose it all, and make
rebuild it.
Make it back again. Something like that.
Being very creative. So when you're doing a deal, buy a deal. So any type of deal like a business, you know, being creative to me is also another gem. Like doing the deal and being creative with it. Okay, so when I say being creative, it's getting the seller involved, getting other people involved, having everyone bring something to the table, and that way everyone has a common goal to the finish line. So when you're getting involved in deals, try to get into deals where everybody has to be involved, in order to achieve, you know, and everyone has the same interests in line, right? So
I love to hear that. That's exactly where I'm at right now.
I love it. Which we are.
Yeah, because it's like, I keep telling our middleman, I want to meet with everyone and figure it out, you know?
Yeah, no, for sure.
So we're going to do
that.
No, but like, I love to hear that. I mean, like, I guess for me, like, I want to ask you guys, like, what's one piece of advice you would give, like, an entrepreneur, like, that's coming up right now, you know, like... Ooh. You kind of just gave one.
You go ahead. You, Jeremy. You go, Jeremy.
I was hoping Anthony would go first.
Yeah, so you can buy it. So I can buy him time. I always buy Jeremy time.
For an entrepreneur that's coming up, that's probably like 18 years old, he's probably a little lost. And I'm just speaking from experience because I was a little lost too. I would say like ignore the noise. Just like what you said, trust your gut. If you think this is what you should do and this is the path you want to go, and everything's screaming inside your mind like, hey, you should follow this. It doesn't matter what your mom says, what your dad says, just follow it, you know? And if there's going to be people that kind of disagree with you and they're just like, no, I think you should, you know, like you should be a nurse or something like that. It's like, no, I want to be in business. I want to do this. You need to follow that, but you need to be able to back that up. Like, there's going to be so many people that are going to talk shit. They're going to discourage you. And they're like, oh, look at this guy, you know? Like, oh, he has his business or whatever, or that little old thing. Like, you have to ignore the noise and just focus, like laser focus, and just go like 120% on that. And it's easier said than done, of course, you know? But because when you're trying to climb to the top, people will root for you, you know?
Always.
But when you get to a certain point, they're going to stop.
You're going to realize real quick,
Yeah. And it's just like, oh, you just want me to do good, but you don't want me to do better than you. And once you start doing better than them, that's when shit gets weird.
Yeah.
And it's you know, I don't know how to say it, but Yeah, that's my answer to that
Laser
question.
focus, yeah,
Laser
that's a good
focus.
Laser
Be
focus.
relentless.
Yeah,
I
be
got that.
relentless. Yeah, I love that book. Another good book.
Yeah.
Yeah, be fearless.
All right, Anthony, I bought you some time.
Oh, you bought me some time. I
was
thought I
ready.
already
He
gave.
was gonna go.
I gave a gem, but I mean,
Okay.
I'll give
Yeah,
another
yeah.
one. Look
We
at
want to hear the
Jeremy.
gems. We want to hear the gems.
Oh man. Okay, repeat the question one more time.
just
Advice to a young entrepreneur
yeah,
coming up.
Yeah.
Okay, advice to a young entrepreneur. Okay, so one thing that I did was I didn't know that you can, again, be creative with deals. So whenever I first got into the game, I saved my money. I saved lots of money to invest in my first deal, which is not necessary. It really isn't. Also, you know, you can seek out and find a deal. You can go on Biz Buy Sell. You can literally go on Craigslist and find something, put something together, get creative. So you have to have a creative mind. And another one I would also say is, you know, again, if you don't purchase your first deal and you're going to start your own deal, don't invest a lot of money into that deal. It should be very like a progression, right? So if you're buying and selling something, you know, work your way until you figure out the kinks and then bring in another investor or whatnot. After you've hit those potholes or whatnot, I would say that everything should be just a natural progression. You shouldn't, because it might not go right for you. Not everyone's built to be an entrepreneur.
Yep.
Okay, so I want everyone to know that. Just like not everyone's built to be in the NBA or just not. Unfortunately, you know, give it a try, work super hard, go at it hard. You know, learn, do all that. I believe everyone can do it. I just don't know if everyone has what it takes.
Yeah.
So, you know, just don't, you know, break the bank on your first deal. Just naturally progress. And if you're going to buy or purchase something, definitely you don't have to invest a lot of money. You can just be the person that finds the deal, cultivates the deal, and brings people to the table, and you get a cut of that deal.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Like some
If-
guy
if-
we know.
if anyone has any questions or anything, just shoot us all a DM.
Yeah.
I mean, this is all we do all day.
We're always game to give free game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Like
Everybody
it's-
wins.
Yeah,
Well, can
everybody
I answer my
wins.
answer after Anthony's answer?
Can you
Like-
change your answer?
No, I want to add to it.
Oh,
Oh,
you want
answer,
to add?
yeah,
Go
yeah.
ahead.
Two things, because after listening to you, if I could give advice to someone too, is be curious, be super curious.
Yeah.
Like, for me, it's like when I heard seller financing when I was young, I was like, what the frick is that? You
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
and then
yeah.
I just brush it off. But be curious when you hear like these certain concepts, especially from people who are doing it. Really like study it, look into it. And then the second thing I want to add is partner with the right people.
You had a bad partner?
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure everyone here
everybody
had
had
one.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
oh
yeah.
my goodness gracious.
But that
yeah.
is officially my answer.
no, for
But you
sure.
wanted more time.
Yeah, about more time. I'm telling you, this guy, he starts to think about it.
Yeah.
No.
No, that's huge. No, thank you for sharing that. I think a lot of people are gonna like really learn from that. And I think, you know, again, all the resources are out there.
Yeah.
It's crazy what this generation has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The access to the information stuff. Like, take what you can, take what you want, and like just do it.
Go after it.
Yeah.
Yep. There's a lot of opportunities out there, and as I continue to develop, I'm learning more and more. And I mean, I'm telling you guys, like just finding some of these businesses out here where their heavy admin staff are over here and all that. I'm sorry, but a lot of them could be cut, unfortunately, and be put over there. A lot of processes can be automated, unfortunately. But you can create a better, efficient system. And that's, again, I've said that businesses are just processes and systems all together. And if you can replace,
It's
you know,
problems. How can you solve all those problems?
and the goal is to get the bottom as fat as possible and help everyone there along the way.
Yep.
You know, I mean, you know, and you create a better, efficient system, and then you move on and you create more.
Boom.
That's
I love
what it is.
I love it.
And on that, I think we'll conclude on that, right?
Yeah.
And I know
Yeah.
you got
Yeah.
strict on
Andrew,
time.
it's amazing having you, brother.
Thank you for having me
I
as your
love
first
your
guest.
vibe, man.
Thank you so
Seriously,
much.
though.
Thank you,
Nice
thank
to
you.
meet you
Yeah.
officially.
Oh yeah. But there you guys have it. That was episode 6 of the Acquisition Podcast. I'm the host, Jeremy Mateo, my co-host,
Anthony Jones.
and our first guest ever, Andrew Tran.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys
Cheers.
for
Let's go.
watching.
Let's go crush it.
See you next
All
time.
right, let's go.